Hey guys, Kevin Smith for Girl Meets World, Season 2, Episode 13, Girl Meets Semi-Formal. And what a great episode. Seriously, guys, one of the best episodes this season by far. I was really looking forward to this episode for a couple of reasons, and it really didn't let me down, I have to say. I really like the way they handled this episode. I mean, most times in school dance episodes, they're very cheesy and things, but this one had a very unconventional message and went in this direction that I was very happy about. And overall, I thought this was one of the strongest episodes of the season by far. It was also one of the funniest, definitely, and I'll get into that. But let's just get to this episode, which was really great. And yeah, so basic plot of this episode is that Riley is waiting on Lucas asking her to the semi-formal. It is now a week before. It's basically like a week or the day before, and basically she has been constantly thinking about it for the past 10 months, and he hadn't said anything, and Maya told her that when Lucas wouldn't say anything, she'd say that she has a problem. And I love the flashbacks when we saw Riley asking Maya, like, 10 months before, 5 months before. I thought that was really funny. And basically, now she's kind of in this pickle where she doesn't really know what to do. And she knows that Lucas, she thinks that Lucas is going to ask her, but it's not really, seems to be working out. And I love the scene where Maya is closing the locker, and because it's connected to the chalkboard, chalk dust gets all over Corey's face. I mean, stuff like that is just hilarious. I thought that was great, and I really loved that. Definitely, that was really funny. So basically, Riley's waiting on Lucas, and we then go to the classroom scene where basically Corey is given this film to show them on the semi-formal, but not just the semi-formal, it's how to have proper etiquettes. And I loved Farkle and Maya's play on etiquette. Really, really funny stuff. I mean, this scene was so funny. The way they just rehearsed that, I thought was definitely really funny. It was, it seemed like it was a play, but also Farkle asking Maya to the dance, which I thought was really funny, and that was really great. But basically, the short film that they've shown, it's about as cheesy as a 50s, short film can get. Look, the 50s had some great movies, but not really a good time for, like, short films and things like that. Really cheesy stuff, and it was really funny to watch, and I liked how Riley was, seeing how the really funny thing was that the guy on the film asked the girl 10 months ahead, just like Riley wanted Lucas to, and she's obviously pissed off about it, and she's trying to give Lucas a hint there, and Lucas is saying he wants to talk to her about it, and it's really funny stuff, I have to say. I mean, that short film, just, it had me dying, because it basically, I don't know if that was a real short film. It seemed pretty legit. Like, it seemed like a real short film. I don't think it is. I think they created it for this, but it seemed like a real short film, and it's ridiculous. I mean, we all remember when we get shown really ridiculous short films. I can definitely attest to that, especially with, like, driver's ed class. The most ridiculous after-school specials. They're so over the top, and they're just so bad, and you're laughing at them, and you're not really supposed to. I mean, that's totally the situation that they were in, and I thought that was definitely really great. I mean, it's one of the most awkward things that can happen to you in school is be shown a movie, and you don't know what to do with it. It's really funny stuff, and I thought that was really great. So after being shown the short film, Maya's trying to tell Riley that things have changed, and basically Corey tells her to talk this over class, but Riley is just so obsessed with Lucas asking her out, and basically we then cut to seeing Eric is back, and unlike the last episode where I didn't think Eric was funny, he was really funny in this one, because now he's the senator, and he's kind of putting on this act that he's a lot smarter than he is. For whatever reason, he's had all this, like, information planted into his head so he can act like a senator, but he's still his lovable, goofy self. And I love that Corey's code name was Underpants, and they referenced the scene from season 6 where he thinks Sean into paying a love each other, and he's just like, underpants. Remember that scene? I love it they do that, and that's something I just love about Girl Meets World. The way they can just have the littlest of references in there is just great. I mean, that's why one of the reasons I love the show is because of those little references. But basically, Eric is back, and it was nice to see again, and I enjoyed that. So that's really all we get with that. You can see, though, that he's kind of in this life now, and he likes being a senator and things like that, and I thought that was definitely very interesting. So back to the main plot. Riley is now thinking about what's going on, and basically Maya starts talking to her about someone asking her out, and basically the ultimate proposal happens. You see balloons in her locker, and then do you hear Corey scream again, which was really funny. Then a bunch of people bring her a bouquet. Then there's music, and then basically there's a banner, but it's not from Lucas. It is instead from this guy Charlie, who Charlie was a new character, but to me kind of seemed like he's gonna end up being Riley's love interest, because as we found out last week, Riley sees Lucas as a brother. She sees him as a brother. She doesn't see him as a real love interest, and that she only loves him because she sees him as a brother. That's really why. So this guy Charlie, I could see him being a good love interest for Riley. I mean, he genuinely cares about her, but I have to say, the star of this episode was Sabrina Carpenter. Oh my god, when Maya started talking, like those southern narrations like they heard in the short film, just had me dying. It was so funny, honestly. Everything she said, I could have had a whole episode around that. I mean, Sabrina Carpenter, this is why Sabrina Carpenter is one of the reasons, I praise Sabrina Carpenter so much, because I mean, she's so ahead of her time. I mean, seriously, she's my age and she can do that, and it's hilarious to watch, and she did a great job, and she was really, really funny in those scenes, I have to say. I mean, any scene where she was talking like a southern narrator, just hilarious stuff, and I loved it, and I definitely really like that. So Riley's now in this situation here because Charlie wants to ask her to dance, and she basically has to tell him no, and she makes this really ridiculous excuse that she has to babysit Augie. But I love the scene where Maya's like, Riley's soon gonna find out that her father is the chaperone. Then she realizes that, and I thought that was really funny. But then we realize that Lucas comes into the picture. Lucas basically assumed that they were going together, and that's probably the worst thing a guy can do. You should never assume that you're going with someone. You need to ask them out. Like, if you're going to a dance with someone, you need to ask them out. I've never done that. I've never asked out anyone because I've never gone to a dance with anyone. But just, if you're going to a dance with someone, you need to ask them out. And Lucas talks about how he and Riley had this thing, and I'm just thinking, that's bullshit. We saw in episode 2 that you clearly broke things off, so no, you do not have an unofficial thing. I mean, that was ridiculous, but it was very typical for a guy like Lucas to do, and I love the scene where Charlie and Lucas are just going back and forth. The back and forth between them was just hilarious. I definitely really loved that, and that was really funny stuff, I have to say. So now Riley's in this position where she doesn't know who to choose, and she's trying to tell Lucas that it's gonna work out, but, basically Charlie's saying that he needs a more conventional, he needs more than just assuming for a dance. He needs to do a lot more, and that is true. I mean, the thing is, though, this is just a semi-formal. It's not a prom, okay? It's not a prom. Prom is much bigger than this, and I would know because there are proms in my school, and I see promposals all the time, like, during that time. This is not a prom, it's simply just a semi-formal, so I do see where Lucas is coming from, but at the same time, you want the girl that you're going with to know that you're going with her. Like, he shouldn't have just assumed that he was going with Riley. That was probably his biggest mistake, and I thought that was definitely very interesting. So Riley's now in this situation, and Maya continues the whole southern narrator thing, which I thought was really funny. And Topanga even questions her on that, which I thought was hilarious. The way the show just breaks the fourth wall is just great. The way Topanga's like, "Why are you doing that?" She's like, I refuse to stop." I thought that was really funny. But then we come into what is probably one of my favorite moments of the episode, and the thing I was most looking forward to was seeing the return of Jack. Now, Jack, as I said, is just as important as Eric or Sean. He was the main character. He had a lot to do after he came on season 5. He became one of the most essential parts of the show, and just seeing him again was fantastic. I would have liked to see Sean again, but it was nice to see Eric and Jack get that dynamic back, and it seems like nothing has changed. But the sad thing is, really nothing has changed for Jack. I mean, after him and Rachel joined that Peace Corps, he hasn't seen her, and now he's kind of in the other group, this, like, other group of, against Eric, and Eric is asking why, and Jack's not really sure. He's kind of just looking for direction, basically, which I think is definitely very interesting. Something I think the show has done a really great job, and I've talked about this before, is catching up with everyone, showing us what they've done, and, Jack was a great example of someone who's kind of struggling. He doesn't really know what he wants to do, and I like that. So basically, Riley now has to make a choice of what she wants to do, and Corey surprisingly tells her to go to the dance. Now, I was thinking he wasn't going to do that because you know how protective he is, but he knows that she's growing up, and he knows that she has to make a decision, and he tells her that she has to face the guys and tell them what she wants to do, because obviously she's not just going to leave them hanging. That's not the kind of person Riley is, and I really love that. So she decides to go to the dance with Maya, and basically that's what they do. And they go to the semi-formal, and basically I loved all the scenes of semi-formal. It looked like a school dance, definitely, which was great to see. But basically, she sees both Charlie and Lucas there. They're both there. But basically, the funniest part of this is even though Riley said no, Charlie and Lucas have become like best friends now. It's really funny. They're going back and forth, and basically they tell her, look, we're not going to tell you what to do. You're going to make your own decision, and we're just going to do what you want. And I thought that was definitely very interesting. So Riley really is in this difficult situation because, I mean, both guys really like her. They're both really nice. They both really care about her, but she doesn't know what she wants to do. Now, I was thinking, okay, maybe she could, pick one for one dance and do another dance with the other, but I'm just like, that's not what Riley would do. That's not the kind of person Riley is. And basically, Eric takes Jack to this school dance to basically get him back to times when his life was simpler, because now he's an adult and he has a lot of stress on his mind. He wants to take him back to just a more fun, relaxing time, which I thought was really nice. I like seeing this bonding between them, and the moment when Jack, Eric, and Corey saw each other again, it felt like a Boy Meets World reunion. It was awesome. And when Eric called Corey Feeney, I mean, that was just great. I thought that was really great. And I will say we do get to one of the more sadder scenes in this episode, though, when Jack talks to Riley, which I think is probably one of the best scenes we've seen in this show, period, honestly. I think this scene was incredible because he realizes that Riley is Corey's daughter, and I think Jack was kind of thinking, wow, Corey's moved on while I'm older and I really haven't. I don't really have much direction I don't really have much direction in my life, and I thought that was definitely very interesting. So they talk to Riley about what to do, and they talk about Rachel, which is very much the situation that Riley's in, because with Rachel and Jack, of course, with Rachel, Jack, and Eric, they constantly fought over Rachel in season 6 until Eric realized that he liked her as a friend. What's really interesting here is that you realize that Jack and Rachel have not talked at all, while Rachel and Eric still do talk, and that's very interesting. I'd like to see Rachel again, because that's going to be very interesting to see how that's going to go. I'd love to see them bring back Rachel. I don't know if the actress is available, but I'd love to see them bring back her character, because I think that'd be, one, very funny for Jack to see her again, but also very interesting to see how that dynamic would be, because obviously we now know that Jack and Rachel have not talked at all since he left the Peace Corps, so you can tell that something's going on there. But basically, they tell Riley that it's not important who she likes. Friendships are what's more important. Friendships are one of the most valuable things. She needs to focus on her friendships, and I think that's very interesting. And I don't know if Riley's starting to think that, we know that Maya knows that she thinks of Lucas as a friend, as a brother, but I think that definitely is very interesting because, of course, Eric saw Rachel as a sister, and that's very much what's going on with Riley. And I thought that was very well done, and I really love that scene. And basically, long story short, they all end up dancing together, and Eric, because they all helped him out with his campaign and helped him become senator, he brings out the band Shepherd. Now, I was wondering how they were going to do this, because it seems like every Disney Channel show now, when they have a dance, they bring out some sort of musical guest. But I like the way that they did it. They didn't do it in a way where, oh, here's Shepherd. It wasn't like Shepherd was the star of this episode. It was just simply that Shepherd played a song, and I thought that was really great. I really do love that song, Geronimo, I have to say. I've listened to it a lot, and basically it ends with Riley, Maya, Maya and Lucas do have one scene together. And what I thought was really interesting is when Maya's dancing with Lucas, and Maya's saying, oh, look, Riley's dancing with Charlie, kind of foreshadowing to me that Maya and Lucas might actually have something. I've said before, but I honestly do think that these two are going to end up together. They've been shipping them like crazy ever since, I'd say, last episode. It seems like they're going to keep shipping them, and now that we know that Riley and Lucas, it's not real, it's just Riley sees Lucas as a brother and doesn't understand that yet, I really feel we're going to start seeing more between Maya and Lucas, and I hope they do that, because if Maya goes out with Lucas, Riley's going to realize how she truly feels about Lucas, and we'll get a repeat of Jack and, Jack and Eric with Rachel, and I'd love to see that with Riley and Maya. I'd love to see how they handle it, and I think that'd be very interesting. Also, seeing Farkle do his thing being single, I mean, that was really funny when he's dancing by himself. Really great stuff, and I really like the way the episode ended. So overall, guys, by far one of the best episodes of the season. Another episode without Augie, which I was fine with, because the last time we saw Augie was that really weird Girl Meets Fish episode. But I overall really liked this episode. It was great to see Jack again, and it didn't feel like this was just Jack's return. It felt really organic. It felt like he needed to be there. My only complaint is, why the hell didn't we see Sean? Like, Sean should have been in there. I would have loved to see a scene between Sean and Eric. Sean and Jack, because, of course, Jack is Sean's brother, and I hope we do see that. I really do want Rachel to return, because we know that things are very awkward for Jack and Rachel right now, and I'd love to see how that would work out. But that's basically my review. Hope you all enjoyed. Let me know what you guys thought of this episode. I overall love this episode. One of my favorites this season by far. And I will see you guys in my next video, which I am going to catch up on the last two Hannibals. And I will see you guys for that. Okay, bye.